Urafa of the 9th or 15th century. 1. Shah Ni'mat Allah Wali. He claimed descent from the house of Ali. He is amongst the most famous of Urafa and Sufis. The current Ni'mat Allah order is one of the most famous of Sufi orders. His grave near the city of Kerman is still a Sufi shrine. It is said that he lived until the age of 95 and died in the year 820, 1417, 827, 1424, or 834, 1430. He lived most of his life in the 7th century and associated with Hafiz Shirazi. Much of his mystical poetry has survived. 2. Sa'in al-Din Ali Taraki Isfahani. He is one of the most erudite of Urafa. He was deeply acquainted with the theoretical irfan of Ibn al-Arabi. His book Tamhid al-Qawaid, which has been published and is available, is a tribute to his profound learning in irfan and has been used as a source by the scholars who have succeeded him. 3. Muhammad ibn Mamza al-Fanari al-Rumi. One of the scholars of the Uthmani Empire, he distinguished himself in several fields, author of many books. His fame in irfan is due to his book Misbah al-Uns. This is a commentary on Kunawi's Miftah al-Ghaib. Although it is not everyone who can write a commentary and exposition on the book of Ibn al-Arabi and his disciple Sadr al-Din Kunawi. The authorities in irfan to have followed him have all confirmed the value of this work. A lithograph print of this book with the Hawashi of Agha Mirza Hashim Rashti, a mystic of the last century, has been published from Tehran. Unfortunately, due to bad print, parts of the Hawashi are unreadable. 4. Shams al-Din Muhammad Lahiji Nurbakhshi. The author of a commentary on the Gulshan-e-Raz of Mahmud Shabistari and a contemporary of Mir Sadr al-Din Dashtaki, and Allama Daweni. He lived in Shiraz. These two were both outstanding philosophers of their age, and according to what Hadi Nur al-Shushtari has written in his Majalis al-Mu'minin, both accorded Lahiji the greatest respect. Lahiji was the disciple of Sayyid Muhammad Nurbakhsh, himself the pupil of Ibn Fahad al-Hili. In his commentary on the Gulshan-e-Raz, he traces his chain back from Sayyid Muhammad Nurbakhsh to Maruf al-Karhi, thence to al-Imam al-Rida, and the preceding Imams, and thus to the Holy Prophet himself, peace be upon him. This he calls the golden chain, Silsilat al-Dahab. His fame rests largely on his commentary on the Gulshan-e-Raz, a commentary that itself is one of the loftiest of mystic texts. He began his writing according to what he himself relates in the introduction to his commentary. In the year 877, 1472. The year of his death is not precisely known. It seems to have been before 900, 1494. 5. Nur al-Din Abd al-Rahman Jami. Jami claimed descent from the well-known jurisprudent of the 2nd century, Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani. A powerful poet, he is considered the last great mystic poet of the Persian language. At first he assumed the Takhallus Tashti, but since he was born in the locality of Jam in the vicinity of Mashhad and traced his spiritual descent to Ahmad Jami, he changed this to Jami. In his own words, "My birthplace is Jam, and the drops of my pen are the draught of the cup Sheikh al-Islam." Thus, in the pages of my poetry, in two ways my pen name is Jami. Jami was an accomplished scholar in the various fields of Arabic, grammar and syntax, law, jurisprudence, logic, philosophy, and Irfan. His many books include a commentary on the Fusus al-Hikm of Ibn al-Arabi, a commentary on the Luma'at of Fakhr al-Din Iraqi, a commentary on the Ta'iyya of Ibn al-Farid, a commentary on the Qasidat al-Burda in praise of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, a commentary on the Qasida Mimiyya of Farazda in praise of Al-Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein, a book entitled Al-Laudiyya, his Badristan written in the style of Sa'di's Gulistans, and a book Nafahat al-Uns on the biographies of mystics. Jami was the disciple of Baha al-Din Naqshband, the founder of the Naqshbandi order. However, as in the instance of Muhammad Lahiji, who was a disciple of Sayyid Muhammad Nurbakhsh, his academic standing is above that of his peer. Jami even though he is counted as one of the followers of Baha al-Din Naqshband, achieved an academic standing several degrees higher than that of Baha al-Din. Thus, in this brief history in which we are concentrating upon the academic side of Irfan and not upon the development of the various orders, special mention has been made of Muhammad Lahiji and Abdul Rahman Jami rather than of the founders of their orders. Jami died in 898, 1492, at the age of 81. This ends our brief history of Irfan, covering the period from its beginnings until the close of the 9th or 15th century. We chose to end at this point because, in our view, from the 10th or 16th century onwards, Irfan took on a different form. Up until this time, the learned and academic figures of Irfan had all been members of regular Sufi orders, and the Poles, Aktab, or masters of the Sufi orders, were great academic figures of Irfan, to whom we owe great mystic works. Around the beginning of the 10th or 16th century, however, this began to change. Firstly, the masters of the Sufi order were no longer possessed of the academic prominence of their forerunners. It may be said that from this time onwards, formal Sufism lost itself in customs, outward aspects, occasionally of an innovative nature, bid'ah. Secondly, scholars who were not members of any formal Sufi order began to show profound learning in the theoretical Irfan of Ibn al-Arabi, such that none from amongst the Sufi orders could match them. Examples of such scholars are Sadr al-Muta'allihin of Shiraz, his pupil Faid Kashani, and Faid's own pupil Qadi Sa'id Qummi. The knowledge of each of these of the theoretical Irfan of Ibn al-Arabi exceeded that of the Poles of masters of any Sufi orders of their times, while they themselves were not attached to any of the Sufi orders. Moreover, this is a development that has continued down to the present day, as can be seen in the examples of the late Agha Muhammad Rida Kumshehi and the late Agha Mirza Hashim Rashti. These two scholars of the last 100 years were both experts in the field of theoretical Irfan. yet they too were not members of any Sufi order. On the whole, it can be said that it was from the time of Muhyi al-Din ibn al-Arabi, who laid the foundations of theoretical Irfan and philosophized Irfan, that the seed of this new development was sown. The above-mentioned Muhammad ibn Hamza Fanauri perhaps represented this type. But the new development that produced experts in the field of theoretical Irfan were either not at all devoted to practical Irfan and its spiritual methodology, or, if they were, and to some extent most of them were, had nothing to do with any formal Sufi order, perfectly discernible from the 10th or 16th century onwards. Thirdly, since the 10th or 16th century there have been individuals and groups devoted to the spiritual methodology of practical Irfan, who had attained a very lofty spiritual standing, indeed, and yet they were not members of any of the formal Sufi order. They were either indifferent to the formal Sufis or regarded them as being partially or totally heretical. Amongst the characteristics of this new group of theoretical and practical Urafah, who were also learned in law and jurisprudence, was a perfect loyalty to the Sharia and a harmony between the rights of the path of progression and the rights of jurisprudence. This development has also its own history, but here we have no opportunity to enter its details.